Okay, let me ask you this. What happens when the world's most iconic rock star's legacy becomes a family heirloom? Elvis Presley's family tree isn't just a list of names, it's a tangled web of influence, tragedy, and legacy that shaped music history. But here's the thing, when we talk about Elvis, we're not just talking about a man. We're talking about a dynasty that's equal parts fascinating and dysfunctional. Let me explain why. First off, Elvis's parents, Gladys and Vernon. Now, most people know Elvis came from humble beginnings, but here's what's often overlooked. Gladys wasn't just a supportive mom, she was his entire emotional world. Elvis himself said he was a mama's boy, which sounds cute until you realize how much of his identity was tied to her. When she died in 1958, it hit him harder than any critic ever could. Personally, I think this is where the seeds of his later struggles were planted. Losing your anchor at 23? That's not just sad, it's a recipe for a lifelong identity crisis. Then there's Vernon, Elvis's father. Dude went to prison for writing bad checks before Elvis hit it big. Now, I'm not saying Vernon was a con artist, but let's be real, this is the guy who raised Elvis in poverty, then suddenly found himself swimming in fame and money. What's fascinating here is the irony. Vernon's shady past probably taught Elvis to value loyalty and financial security, which might explain why he surrounded himself with yes men later. The Colonel's influence? That's a whole other story, but Vernon's blueprint for survival in a corrupt system? That's the real hidden layer. Now, let's talk about Priscilla Presley. Oh, where to begin? She's the ex-wife who became the family matriarch, right? But here's the twist. She's also the one who turned Elvis's estate into a billion-dollar brand. Without her, Graceland might have been a museum for die-hard fans, not a cash machine funding reality TV shows and Las Vegas residencies. What many people don't realize is that Priscilla basically reinvented the concept of posthumous celebrity branding. She took a chaotic legacy and made it marketable. Is that genius or exploitation? In my opinion, it's both. She's the reason Elvis is still alive in pop culture, but at what cost? And then there's Lisa Marie. Elvis's only child, who inherited Graceland at 25, right when she was grieving her father's death. Talk about being handed a poison chalice. She tried to keep the Presley flame alive, but let's not ignore the elephant in the room. She was battling addiction and financial chaos while managing a legacy worth hundreds of millions. Her daughters, Riley Keough and the twins, now represent the fourth generation. Riley's been vocal about how Elvis's fame shaped her trauma, but here's the deeper question. Can a family ever truly own a cultural icon? Or do they just become temporary custodians of something bigger than themselves? What this all reveals is a pattern we see with celebrity dynasties. The Kennedys, the Jacksons, the Kardashians, fame isn't inherited, it's weaponized. Elvis's family didn't just benefit from his stardom, they became collateral in the war between legacy and commerce. And honestly, that's what makes this story so gripping. It's not about who Elvis's cousins are, it's about how a family grapples with being both the gatekeepers and prisoners of a myth. So here's my closing thought, Elvis's family tree isn't just roots and branches. It's a cautionary tale about how genius, trauma, and capitalism collide. When we romanticize Elvis, we're really romanticizing a system that turns people into icons, then leaves their families to pick up the pieces. What would Elvis himself think about all this? I dunno, maybe he'd write a song about it. But one thing's for sure, the Presley story is far from over. What's next for the King's heirs? That's a question that'll keep me, and probably you, hitting the rewind button for years to come.